Hallo ihr lieben Buchliebhaber! Ich bin Hannah und blogge auf meinem Buchblog wonderworldofbooks. Ihr kennt sicher alle dieses Buch. Heute kommt die irische Bestseller-Autorin Cecelia Ahern nach Stuttgart in die Buchhandlung Wittwer und liest aus ihrem brandneuen Roman Der Glasmurmelsammler. Ich habe die große Freude, sie vorher exklusiv zu interviewen und sie mit Fragen zu löchern. Und ich nehme euch einfach mal mit und wir schauen zusammen, ob die Autorin genauso sympathisch wie ihre Charaktere ist. Und ihr erfahrt jetzt alles über ihren neuen Roman. Viel Spaß!
Okay, first, when did you write your first story? And have it always been your dream to become an author?
I wrote my first novel when I was 21. That was P.S. And I've been writing ever since I was a child. So from the age of 8, I suppose, I was writing poems and songs and short stories and diaries, most importantly, writing diaries every day. And that's, I never dreamed of being a writer. It was just something I did because I was very, I suppose I was passionate about it and it was a hobby. I never thought it would be a career.
Okay. And now you are an idol for many other authors. Do you have also an idol? And which authors do you admire?
I read a lot. I read lots of different types. I suppose I have favourite books. I mean, I really like The Time Traveller's Wife is one of my favourite books. I get very excited about Karen Slaughter and Lee Childs. They write great crime thrillers. And I also like Amy Bender, Andrew Kaufman, and I think that's enough.
So you like many genres, many different.
Yeah, I do. I like really kind of. Love reading crime thrillers, but I love really quirky stories that look at life from a very different kind of peculiar angle. So yeah, I like stories that are very different and ones that I've never heard about. I just like browsing the aisles of a bookstore and finding something very different instead of the ones that are,
Yes.
you know, being pushed at you. Yeah, I like finding secret books.
Okay, that's also the next question. Which was your favorite book in your childhood?
I loved reading Enid Blyton's Famous Five. That series was my favourite. I also read Sweet Valley Twins, Sweet Valley High, The Babysitter's Club. So from the age of like 8, 9, 10, 11, probably not 8, probably 9, 10, they were my favourite books.
Okay. And what can you tell us about your writing process? You have a special routine that you follow when you write?
I write longhand. I still write with pen on paper. I'm old-fashioned when I write, and I like to candle, just get the nice atmosphere. But really, I can write anywhere as long as I have silence, a pen, and paper. Then that's it.
Okay, so did you have a place where you prefer to write, or?
I have an office outside of my home, so I actually physically go to work, and yeah, it's a nice space. I go there about 4 days a week to write, and I write from 9 to 5, kind of regular office work hours, because I have a family, I have children, so I can't write like I used to write before I had them, which was staying up all night and sleeping half the day. Yeah. I had to structure my life in a very different way, so yeah, I go to an office and I sit at my desk and I'm surrounded by things that I like.
Okay, and which of all your wonderful characters do you love the most, and with which of them do you identify the most?
I can't choose, you know, they're all important and they're all special to me and they're all kind of like my, you know, they all represent a different time in my life. So, but I think if anyone's asking me what's my favourite, it's always the newest one I've written because it's the freshest one and it's kind of, I feel it's probably my best work because it's new.
Yeah.
But you know, so the next novel I write will be my favourite and the next novel will be my favourite.
Okay. And which was the best moment or experience as an author?
Yes, apart from writing, which is the best moment of all, I think probably getting my first deal. That was the most incredible thing. I couldn't believe it happened. You know, I sent it off to PSCW hoping for some advice from an agent, and instead what happened was months later, you know, I got a deal, and that was incredible. So that's probably the most exciting, shocking, overwhelming, surprising moment I've ever had. Ever.
And do you like the films they made?
I do. I love them. I think I love P.S. I Love You, I love Rosie. I think that they capture the whole spirit of the novels, the heart of the stories, and they have been changed in some areas, but I'm quite happy with that as well. I think I'm really proud of it. I look at it and I think I feel like it's mine, you know, I feel proud.
That's great. And sorry, excuse me. That's the last question. How does your personal life influence your books, and where do you get your inspiration for all the stories?
I always say that there's three things. So it's imagination, experience, and what's the other thing? Observation. You know, observation. So I'm always I'm always watching everybody. I'm always observing. I'm always taking everything in. And then there are moments of my own life. You know, how I feel. All my own personal emotions go into writing a novel. It's very important that I can identify with what the character's going through. But I would never take something that's happened in my life and turn it into a novel. So it's always fiction, but I definitely have to draw on real life experiences and feelings and emotions.
Okay. And do you have any advice for other young authors?
Yes, I think that it's important to write with your own voice. You know, write as you speak or as you think. Don't try to emulate anybody else, because as soon as you write with your own voice, you're immediately original, unique, you're different, nobody else will sound like you, and be confident. Be confident and enjoy it.
Okay. Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you very much.
Wow. So, how did you have the idea to write a book that is called in English The Marble Collector?
Okay, so the expression that we use at home is I've lost my marbles, which means I've lost my mind, and it's something that I say an awful lot because I have really lost my mind, and I say it to my children all the time. Mommy's lost her marbles. Like, you know, if I make a mistake, as I'm putting the milk into the cupboard and the sugar into the fridge, and I'm, you know, doing stupid, distracted things, that means I've lost my marbles. And so, for years I've been writing a series of short stories called The Woman Who, and the title is Whatever the Woman Does. And so I thought this idea was going to be the woman who lost her marbles, and it was going to be about a woman who physically loses actual marbles, but while she goes out to find these marbles, she discovers herself. She learns a lot about herself. And as I was developing it in my mind, I realised I started getting into the whole marble world, and it was just such a beautiful setting. For a novel, I decided this is more than a short story, I want this to be a novel. And then the father-daughter story was born from there. But it originated as a simple phrase that I would say to my children, then it turned into a short story, and then it turned into a novel.
Working?
Well, so this is my 12th novel, but I have 14 written. So I've written my first young adult series, which is called Flawed, well, in English, and then the sequel is Perfect, and that will be out here next year. And thank you. You get a clap for that. But in January I do begin writing my 13th adult novel. So that will be out. I don't know when. Ask her. So yeah, I do, and for that I do have an idea that's like a seed of an idea that's slowly growing, and the train trips here are really helping as well. So thanks to you. Yeah, something's there, and the way it works every year is that I start writing a novel in January. It's due in June. I edit for the summer, and it's published in the autumn, or October, November. And that's what I do every year. The last 2 years I decided to break that mold and write 2 novels each year, just to make my life even more complicated. But I couldn't help it. That's what happens. I had this head full of ideas, and I had to write it really quick. So I wrote Flawed last year, and I wrote Perfect this year, and they will be out in the next 2 years. So next year I have 2 books out, and the following year I have 2 books out.
Oh God, oh God, oh God. Und sie sagt,
I'm actually exhausted just telling you.
So you said you never work under pressure, so obviously you have to get the ideas out of your system, so to say. Yeah. Also gut, wir können noch viele Bücher erwarten. Diese Jugendserie, die jetzt in Deutsch auch erscheint nächstes Jahr, und dann ihr 13. Erwachsenenbuch, das ist das 12. gewesen, kommt auch. How many more films will be made over the next years?
Well, Love Rosie, which was based on Where Rainbows End, I'm not going to say it in German because I embarrassed myself earlier. That was already out this time last year, so that was the 2nd. I'm going to do more TV movies for ZDF in April. And I don't. Oh yeah, there's a camera, so I'm not saying. And sorry. The Gift is the next to go into production. The screenwriter who I've met with is currently writing the screenplay. And Flawed was optioned by Warner Brothers and Wendy Feinerman Productions, the same team behind P.S. I Love You, which is really exciting. So hopefully they'll make that as soon as the book is out.
Also es kommen noch viele Filme, ich merke schon, das rollt jetzt. Fernsehen und Kino, ZDF natürlich auch nicht so schlecht und eben Kinofilme, die jetzt schon in der Mache sind und verhältnismäßig schnell, weil man kennt ja Hollywood, das dauert oft lang. Also die nächsten Jahre werden auch Filme von Cecelia zu sehen sein. Thank you so much, Cecelia, for coming to Germany for the one reading, but now you have another big duty to sign books. And